Hey YouTube, I'm Aaron Ross. Welcome to this week's video. I recently completely redid my website because your website is pretty crucial to your photography business if that's what you're pursuing. And so I decided to share with you a little bit about what I did with my website, behind the scenes, how I built it, why I built it, and just to be clear, this is not sponsored. This is in no way affiliated with Squarespace, which is where I did build my website. I know there are tons of videos out here on YouTube that are sponsored by Squarespace. This is not one of those. I have never talked with Squarespace. I did purchase my website and my account of Squarespace through one of those ads, but this is not that. I will not have an affiliate link that I share with you. This is truly my opinion and how I decided to build my own website. So as we go through that, remember it. But I am going to jump in and share with you kind of again how I built my website and what I put on it. One of the first things that you're going to want to do when making your website is actually secure your own domain. And you can do that directly through Squarespace. I know there's a lot of other services out there to secure a domain and direct it to wherever you're hosting your site. You can do that all directly within Squarespace, which I personally love. I can just click on get a domain, search for whatever I want. And in this case, let's just do get your domain. That is not available. So you can see if I just add 2021, that is available and it's $20 a year, which is very, very affordable. And once I check out and have that, it'll show up and I can direct my website to it. It automatically renews on an annual basis, which is wonderful. I have aaronrossstories.com and I don't have to worry about it. It sits right there and directly connects to my website. The next thing you want to do is pick a template. There are a ton of templates in Squarespace. I use Mojave, and in the past I've used Adversary, but right now I am using Mojave with this new website design that I just launched. And there are still a ton of other options. You can see there are popular designs here right when you open this up, and I'll scroll through a few of these for you to see them. Now, all of these are a general layout. You can customize every page once you get it uploaded and kind of playing with the content of your own website. If you're a photographer, you can do your own photography website. If you're focused on weddings, you also have things that might fit your business a little bit better. There's even things like online stores if you have products you want to sell that are designed specifically for that. All sorts of different designs that fit the needs of your business. Then you're going to want to go into styles where you can change everything. Now, you're not going to necessarily know what all of these are. It's going to be clicking around and playing with these, but it's super easy to change. I'll show you just how easy it is to change the background of my website. All I have to do is click and drag, and you're going to see the website change in real time and going from red to green, whatever you want that to be, and make that fit your branding. Now, for me, I like it to be white and open and airy of a website, so I'm going to go ahead and revert that back. And you can see for my branding, the Aaron Ross right there at the top of the website, I have that in this blue color. And you can even change the font and weight of every single one of those. And I know that I still need to update the mobile version of this, so I'm going to go ahead and copy over this color so I can match it perfectly. But as we scroll, you're going to see all sorts of options, even like the active color, which is the navigation. So right here, I'm on the home page and that's yellow. If I click to another page, that would then turn yellow. But I'm going to scroll down to my mobile settings because this is a mobile responsive site. There are some things that you can change specifically for the mobile version. So looking at the mobile branding, I'm going to go ahead and match the font of that to what I have it as the desktop, as well as the color. I'm going to paste what I used on the desktop version so that no matter what device you access my website on, it will appear the same and my branding will be consistent. Another option on the mobile version, which I really like, is the menu because you're not going to have the entire menu navigation show up. So I've gone with the hamburger style of a menu on a mobile, which people are very familiar with. But you could even change that to match exactly the branding colors if you wanted it to So if I make this blue and then shrink up the website to show you exactly what that looks like, you'll see the navigation disappear, and there in the top right, I now have the hamburger menu. But I do prefer this to be black, so if I click that and drag on over, it's already going to go black immediately, and you can see that change in real time. So you can make this whatever you want it to be. Now again, there are a ton of options in setting this up, but that is the highlights and what I've chosen as some of my branding and styling for my website. You can also update some specific pages like your lock screen if you have something that's password protected. You can also go in and add some custom CSS or styling. This is going to take a little bit more knowledge of coding, which I don't necessarily have, but you can do that if you have that experience. But then you can get into the actual fun stuff, the pages of your website. So I have my homepage here and a couple of different sections, that homepage banner as well as the services overview. So to edit this, all you have to do, click into edit, and you're going to see a bunch of different blocks of content and different ways that the layout is changing on the website. And you just click into one of these and you can start typing and editing. In this case, let's say I want to add a third service. So I can just hit text box, and let's say for this one I want to do photo prints, but this isn't currently the right style, so I want to match that to the others, which I know is header 3, and then this is obviously not in the right spot, so I have to click and drag, but that is all I have to do. But you can see all these little blue lines as I'm clicking around. That's where it's going to show up, so you can pop it into different sections on the website as you are doing that, but I want it right next to it, so I'll drop it there, and then I just click the plus button, add another text box, and start typing away to add that description. And once I have the content ready, I'm going to go ahead and add a similar button here. Again, just hit that plus sign, and before we do that, there are actually a ton of options of the different types of content that you can add. I'm going to scroll through a few of these. I'm not going to go through every single one of them as there are a lot, but as you can see, all you have to do is click and kind of go through the settings of that particular content type. For this one, it's a button, and you can change the text that's on the button. You can then add the link of where that button's going to go. If it's a web address somewhere outside of your website, a specific page on your website, it gives you all of the options and pages that you currently have live. You can also open up an email, have it call a phone number, or download a specific file that you have stored on your website. Hit apply, and there you go. I do notice this is bigger than the others, so I'll pop back in and just change that and make sure that it matches the rest of the site. Now, to adjust some of the sizing and making sure that the layout of this is easy, I'm going to give a little bit more space to that third option and do that by adjusting the spacers that I have on the left and right, but then try and adjust these to be even so that each section has its own space. Now, because this isn't actually what I want on my website, I am going to readjust this and end up deleting that photo prints because that's not something I currently have on my website, but you're going to see just how easy it is to readjust your website and add content, take away content, and make sure the layout is just as you want it to be. Now, the other main page that I have is my photography services, which is really my family portraits, headshots, and event photography. This is what I'm going to be offering as my photography services. And so I have a little bit of a description of what those are and then photo examples. So you can see this as my portfolio and how I have this set up. I have it as a kind of collage of photos that people can scroll through and see some of the work that I've done in the past, so they can get a sense of what photos and what type of style that they're going to be able to expect from me if they were to choose me as their photographer. What's great is they can get to the bottom, and I've added this section that is a contact us, so it links directly to the contact page. They can fill this out and I will get an email notification that they have sent me a note. If I wanted to make a quick edit to this is a form. All you do, pop into edit, and let's say that I wanted to add a different option for what they're interested in. So if I were to add that photo prints section, I can go ahead, click in here, enter that as photo prints, and you can see on the left hand side that's automatically updating in real time, and now that's an option for people to select when they are contacting me. But if I go back to that photo scroll or the portfolio section, I want to show you how easy it is to add additional photos and manipulate this layout. So if I go into edit and I click the plus sign, I'm going to select image. Now what I do is I upload an image from my computer or files or whatever I might have connected. Now this is not a photo that actually fits my portfolio, but I'm going to just use this as an example. It's going to take a minute to process and resize that image. And in this case, one thing you can do is go into the image editor, and it gives you a couple of options to do some of your basic adjustments. I would say rely on your own editing outside of this system, have it ready to go before you upload it here. But you can also crop, and this is something I use depending on where it's going to go on the site. Let's say I wanted this one to be 16 by 9. I can then adjust where that crop is. Click save, and now it's going to reprocess and resize that for me. You can also change the different ways that this shows up on the page. For me, I'm going to go with inline. You can also remove a caption or have a caption if you want. And then one thing that is interesting is enable the light box, and you can have this be dark or light. For me, I'm going to go with light, and I'll show you what that does in a minute. Now all I have to do is click and drag this around and pop it where I want it. Now that's pretty small and showing up not in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. So all I do is click and drag and see if I want to resize it that way, or drag it up a little higher and maybe pop it here instead, and then go back down here and resize these other images. Now, this is obviously not a good layout here and how this is set up, but just to show you exactly how it works, you can click and save. Now, when I click on this photo, it pops it up even bigger with that light overlay over the rest of the website. You can do dark and make that a darker gray, but for me, I like that light overlay. Now again, because this doesn't actually fit my portfolio, I'm going to go ahead and come in here and remove that image, click and delete. And now it's back to how I had it and what I prefer my website layout to be. The other page is my YouTube videos. So I do want to show this off on my website because I want people to understand some of my credibility and some of my knowledge, and show that yes, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to photography. And so this is something obviously I'm doing here on YouTube, and I want to include some of that here. This first section is photography basics, basically the exposure triangle, showing some of the gear I use, as well as photo editing basics. So if other photographers end up on my website, they also have the opportunity to find my YouTube channel and learn a little bit more about me there. Another way people can learn about me is my About page. Here is a little bit about my background and how I approach photography and what I'm hoping to achieve by being your photographer. And lastly, I have a newsletter page. This is something I'm just launching, so feel free to visit my website and subscribe to this newsletter. I'll link this down in the description below, but this is going to be a quick email month over month that people can get updates from me on. So that is automatically built into Squarespace. I can go into the marketing section, and now there are a lot of options for marketing, but here under email campaigns, this is going to be the section that I use the most specifically for this newsletter. Similar to the templates for the website itself, they have a lot of layouts for you as you build out your email campaigns. I have a draft here, which is a very basic one. I just started this, so this is not necessarily finished. But if I go back actually into the drafts, I'll show you how easy it is to edit emails. This is all very similar to the website content. Click and drag and move things around. You can change all sorts of stuff and add content. There's different products that you can add if you want to sell something, spacers. In this case, we'll go ahead with an image and just show you how that works here. So if I wanted to edit an image, it's not actually clicking here. It is over on the right-hand side where you want to add an image. We'll just, for the sake of this example, use the same image. That will take a second to upload. And now you have an image embedded directly in your email. Now, if I want this to be linked somewhere, let's say this is an Instagram photo and I want somebody to go there, you can go just type whatever URL you want people to visit. So in that case, go ahead and follow me over on Instagram and Twitter, both at I'm Aaron Ross. I share all sorts of photos and different content on those platforms as well. If you want to click and drag around, you can even move the photo to the top or down, whichever one you want, and make sure it's the layout that you want. You also have options to match your branding. So in this case, I want my links to match that blue that I use on my header branding. So I'll click around and find something similar. You have a couple different font options. This isn't quite as robust as your website, but there are some options. Back on the email side, you have things like your subject line, preview text, all sorts of different options here. You can schedule these out. You don't have to send them immediately, which is wonderful. Now they do have a couple of different plans here. This I'm just getting started, so I have not updated this yet, but you have a couple of different options here on which plans depending on the volume of emails you're going to be sending. You also have commerce. So this is a section that if you have products you want to sell, let's say was doing photo prints, you have orders, inventory, customers, everything that you're going to need right in Squarespace to be able to sell products directly on your website and manage that sales process. It's always important to know how your website is performing and looking at some of those analytics. Now, you can go in and see sales if you are selling things, but you can also just look at the traffic and where things are at with your website. You can see where people are coming from, if they're in the US or other countries around the country or around the world. You can see sales by product, traffic sources, if they're coming directly from Google or social. You can also see what forms people are using across your website. There's a robust set of analytics here on your Squarespace backend. So to me, this is really helpful in knowing how my website is performing. Now, depending on what type of website you're building and how much commerce you're going to be having, they have different plans. You can see I have the business plan, but they have others if you want to be selling more products. You can see some of the benefits that you have if you scroll down what is available at each level. Again, for me, I'm not doing a whole lot of selling things on my website. It's much more about the content and letting people get in contact with me. So for now, I've gone with the business plan. Well, there you go. That is my website. I hope you learned something as we went through it and how I built my own. Make sure and do some research on your own. I know I use Squarespace and shared that here, but there are plenty of platforms out there that build websites and host websites and give you all sorts of tools and functionality. So make sure and find the one that is right for you. So let's make some photos, and I'll see you next time.